Okay, everybody, welcome back to the shop for another edition of Dreadnought Woodshop Live. Um, if you saw my last Instagram story, I mentioned how I've been having some trouble with my computer today. So, if the video is very choppy, which it might be, I apologize ahead of time. And I'm going to be recording this on my streaming software as well. So hopefully, when I'm done doing the live, then I can go back and uh, upload the non-choppy one. So anyway, if you remember from last week, we were working on let's see, pull this thing off of here. All right. All right. If you remember from last week, we were working on this color pencil holoform vessel, and this week we're gonna finish this thing off. We're gonna add a lid and a finial made out of this piece of walnut here. Um, yeah, so let's go ahead and get cracking on that, and we'll see. So let's see. Anybody that's in the chat room, how's the video? Because from my end, it looks pretty choppy. All right. So let's go ahead and switch cameras here. I'm trying something a little different today. I'm going to be showing two views at one time. I'm going to be showing the overhead view right here, as well as the view from the tailstock down there. And I'm going to try to show them at the same time and see how that goes. So I see a couple of people have joined us in the I got a couple more viewers on. So if you could do me a favor and let me know how the video stream is looking, because it looks a little choppy from my end. All right, let's get out the parting tool, and we're going to start taking a look at I'm going to take a look at the mortise here, because it looks like I was looking at it before the video started, and I noticed that there's a little bit of a step down there in the bottom. I don't know that I can get this any closer without touching the lathe, but we'll see. Let's see here. Probably not. Nope. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get this up to speed, up around 1300 RPM. And then I'm just going to come in here and just very lightly clean up this shoulder right here and get rid of that little bump, because I want this to be as square as possible. So when I go to fit the mating piece for the lid, it'll fit in there nice and tight. So at this point, we're pretty much done fooling around with this part. So the next thing we need to do is get this one on the lathe. So I'm going to go ahead and take this chuck off, because I don't want to pull my workpiece off there, because it's very difficult to get that line back up. So we'll just take that off, set that aside. Let's see. Then we're going to get another chuck, Hang on, I thought I had all this set up. We're going to get another chuck, and we're going to mount this blank right here. This should do. We're going to mount our walnut blank in here. Yep, that'll do just fine. Okay, so I'm going to mount this walnut blank in the chuck, and then I'm going to turn down this end so that I can get fit it to this mortise in the top of the hollow form. So first I'm going to round it off a little bit, and then I will put the tenon on it. See, I'm gonna bring up a little tailstock support just for giggles. So. Wow, just barely made it past there. Alright, anytime you can use tailstock support, doesn't hurt. So I'm gonna go ahead and use a bowl gouge, and I'll get this round, start working on the end of it. All right. At this point, the only thing I'm really worried about is the very end of this. The rest of this is not particularly of any concern at this point. Okay, so we have this round now. I'm going to go ahead and face off the end with the parting tool to get a nice square face on it. Okay. Then we can take away the tailstock support, and we can start working on the end of this. So what I want to do is, like I said, I want to have it fit inside here. So let me grab some calipers, start taking a look at that, see what size we're talking about here. All right. So I can see that I got to remove quite a bit to get this where I need it to be. So let's go ahead and get cracking with that. So I'm just going to take off a little bit of this at a time, sneaking up on the fit. I'm taking off a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch off the length of this tenon, just in case I overshoot it, and then I can cut that off and then continue. See if I can move this overhead view down just a little bit, get a better view of the action here maybe. That might have been too far. Let's say. Okay. Okay. I just wanted to bring it down here so you could kind of see what I'm doing here on the end. So let's grab our calipers and see where we're at. We still need to take off some more. Alright, so I overshot that quite a bit. So now, I'm not going to cut this piece off yet. What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to use that as a frame of reference so that I know not to go past that. I know that's too small. Alright. So you can see just how small a difference, just how big of a difference in the fit it makes. That's a very small amount of wood, but that has definitely overshot the fit I was looking for. So now, go back and take it off a little bit at a time. Okay, that right there is the fit I'm looking for. So now I could take off the end here. I could take off this bit on the end. Okay. And I can go ahead and make this shoulder just a little bit big, just a little bit deeper. Okay. Now, all things being equal, that should fit pretty good. And it didn't. Yeah, need to be just a little bit bigger. I need to work on that tenon a little bit. Let's see. Looks like it's a little deeper at the bottom, a little narrower at the bottom than it is at the top. Yep, that's the case. So that needs to be just a hair bigger. Yep. Now I could just go ahead, for the sake of working on this, I could go ahead and use a paper towel to take up the slack in the fit, but and that'd be perfectly fine. And then I could just turn this around and mount it off the tenon to finish the top. But I'm going to go ahead and recut that and get that to fit a little bit better. think that ought to be better. Let's take a little bit of this off. You can take off just a little more. When you're fitting the lids of your boxes for a jam fit, you want to be careful, particularly in cases like this, because the little inlay in the top, the little maple inlay in the top of this thing is pretty easy to crack, particularly because it's, you know, colored pencils around the outside. So, you know, you want to be careful with that. That's pretty good. Might still need a little paper towel to make sure I get it in there as tight as I would like. So go ahead and take off this little nub on the bottom here. And then I can go ahead and finish the bottom. This will be the bottom of the lid, so I'm going to go ahead and finish it off now. I'm going to use the bowl gouge to do that. Come across the face and clean it up a little bit. And then I'm just going to dome it out just a little bit for the sake of being fancy. Oops. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. So if you wanted to, decorate this, a lot of times I'll use the Robert Sorby spiraling and detailing tool to decorate the underside of the lid. This would be the time. Pretty much anything you want to do to that part of this project, this is the time to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and sand it a little bit. I think I'm going to do the finishing for this project off the lathe, maybe. So at this point, I'm not going to worry too much about finishing the inside. Alright, let's see what we got here. Alright, that's good. Never hurts to go with the grain a little bit. Alright. Grab a little 320 and that'll do it for the bottom. Now the way I'm going about this is not the way I normally do it. This method that I'm going to use today is really kind of inspired by my friend Cindy Drozda. I watched one of her demos during the virtual AAW event this year, and this is the order that she does. Well, loosely the order in which she does these types of projects. So just giving it a whirl to see how it'll work out for me. So this is our, let's see here, switch back. So this is our, the end there, all sanded and what have you. That, like I said, that's the inside of our, that's going to be the inside of the lid. All right. And then we're going to go back to our hollow form. Alright. Then what I'm going to do is go ahead and install this piece to that piece. Oh, fits looser than I expected. So, use my little paper towel trick. Now, the one thing about using the little paper towel trick is I'm actually going to cut this piece. I'm going to cut the side profile I'm going to cut the side profile where this piece and that piece join together, and really it would have been ideal for me to have a tighter fit, because what's going to happen is the thickness of this paper, which is not very thick, but what it's going to do is it's going to cause this surface right here to sit a little higher. So if I cut it smooth, if I cut it flush to this surface here, then what's going to happen is when I take this paper towel away and fit it back together, it's going to drop down the thickness of the paper, and well, that's acceptable to me, so I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to go back and cut it again. Let's see here. Alright, so I put a little tailstock support. Let me adjust this so that it's not bumping into the tailstock. Alright, so we got all that going. So the main thing I want to do now is I'm going to waste away some of this material here to get down to, actually, let me switch this out. I think there's a better way to hold this. I'm gonna do this without, I don't really need a point, and I think having a little bit more surface area will probably be helpful to basically clamp it to the base of the piece there. So let me loosen this up a little bit. Spin it around. Get rid of that creaking sound. Ooh. No. Heard some cracking. That's not good. Alright. All this is an experiment. And although it's going my way right now, that doesn't have anything to do with how this all will finish up. So it's going to be a surprise for me and a surprise for everybody watching. So let's get to work. Heard a little cracking. Hopefully that's not a big deal. Here we go. Get my bowl gouge, which I put down somewhere. Here we go. So now I'm figuring this piece is about 3 inches tall, and I'm probably gonna go not quite 3 inches with the finial. So I'm go ahead and round out the rest of this and start cutting the mating portion right here, between the transition between the two parts. That doesn't look great. Let me take a look at a few things. make sure I don't have any unexpected surprises coming my way. All right. Crank the speed up a little bit. All right. Rex B asks if the Easy Woodchuck is worth the big cost. I'll tell you, being able to change jaws that quickly is definitely a plus, and it is a quality piece of equipment. So I guess it depends on your experience. Guess it depends on how much you hate switching jaws. Alright, let's look at this. Okay, so we got a nice round blank up here. Probably go ahead and round out the rest of this. Then we're gonna start making some. Then we're gonna start making some design decisions. Okay. All right. So now I'm gonna cut away this excess material up here, at the same time cutting away the excess paper towel and starting to shape the base of my lid and also the base of the finial. Let's come in here and get rid of some of this paper towel. There we go. So now what I really want to do is come in here, preferably not cut the form, the hollow form. What I really want to do is cut right next to it. I'm going to cut right next to it, and I'm looking to get past that past that maple inlay in the piece. But I don't want to make the lid too fragile, so I'm gonna take my time getting there. I'll make a little room so we can work. Go ahead and pull a little bit of this out. Alright, and I know that I want this to have like a nice curve into the base of the finial. So I'm going to start to make that curve, and then I'll work slowly from there back down to the place where the two parts join. So let's get rid of that paper towel there. I can see the glitter showing up now. Let's see if I can switch this around, see if that helps. So you can start to see, you can kind of see the glitter showing up now, the glitter ring. So I know I'm getting close. So I'm going to come in here and kind of ride that surface a little bit. This paper towel is actually working out pretty good because it's a good indicator of exactly where I'm cutting at. So I got a little bit of that left before I hit the maple. Come back in here. There it is. Okay. So now starting to make some inroads. I don't have to worry about all this material I'm cutting away because I don't want the lid to be any wider than the portion that meets the top of this vessel. So I don't have to worry about this material I'm wasting away out here. I think I'm gonna switch tools to my detail gouge. Feel like I get a little better access here. Feel like it'd be a little better suited to getting in here. All right. I think we're working on the lid now. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's that blue from the paper towel represents the area between the maple and the walnut. So now I'm actually working on the lid. So I'm gonna waste some more of this material away and start detailing that. Okay. All right. I know I'm stopping this a lot, but I don't often work with a plan. This time is not an exception. So I'm kind of like visualizing this thing as we go. So I think where I'm at now, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring it in just a little bit more and add a little fillet for the bottom. I think a fillet is the right word. For the very bottom of my finial. So you can bring this in here, make some very delicate cuts here. Let my detail gouge do what it does best. Get me in for these, get me into these tight spaces. Kind of feel like that's a little big. So let's say. No, I did not realize that I still had the craft show promo pic, Jamie. Thanks for pointing that out. Rex B asked if I'm going to be doing any classes on the symposium. I'd love to be, but no, I hadn't been invited to do that. And Bobby Fowler's asking to switch. Okay, I guess I did that. So. I think that's about tall enough for my finial. So, okay. This might get a little tricky. So let's see. I have the little thing here. Okay. Go back and start getting rid of some of this mass down here. Okay. So I'm going to try to build up the bottom portion of my finial, and at some point then I'm going to have to part off the rest of this mass up here, because I'm not building a mallet to fit on top of this thing, although that's what it kind of looks like right now. So right now I'm just trying to figure out how everything is going to land on here. Alright, that's starting to feel about right. So now, start working my way down and get this curve right here kind of worked out. Turning finials is one of my favorite things to do. You just kind of get lost. I get lost in the details. All this delicate cutting, and yeah, I don't know. It's my little nerd place, I guess. Nerd out place. Alright, so let's start. I've never actually worked on a finial this way, and actually I'm realizing that I probably messed that up. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right here and talk about where I think I have kind of messed myself up, because typically what you want to do is you want to build your finials from the thinnest point backwards, and I have not done that. So I don't know how this is going to go. I do have enough of this left to flip it around if I have to, but we're all going to see just how this goes, because I've never done it this way before. But I'm already too deep in it now, so here we go. Alright. I'm going to waste a little bit more of this material down so I don't have to do so much cutting once I free this up, and then I'm going to part this off. Rex B asked if I prefer doing wood finials or resin ones. I really haven't done much in the way of a resin finial. To be honest, I'm not really sure how well it would hold up, because resin tends to get a little flexible, actually quite flexible, when you turn it down thin, like a finial. Okay. Alright. It's all of a suddenly that I'm starting to realize just how big a mistake I made by wasting away the support material down here. Yikes. But I'm going to keep going. Who knows, maybe a colossal failure is as entertaining as a success. Alright, here we go. I'm going to try to part this thing off now. This might be where things get interesting. Alright, let's see if I can get in closer. Harold Golden asked if I did demos for Nova. Yes, I have. I'm going to get a saw and cut the rest of this off. Loosen this up. Oops. Alright, it's still hanging in there with us. That's good. So I think what I'm going to do now is I might pull it out and mount it in a chuck. Well, it might be okay. Alright. Let's get down to business. So just a little bit. Okay, so since I made the error in judgment and cut my support material away, I'm going to be supporting this with the back side of this with my finger and taking very light cuts. Oops. Get this in here. And if it starts to come out of there, then I'm going to have to mount it in the chuck. But we'll see how this goes. Boop. Kind of expected that. No big deal. Let's get this off of here. Get that mounted in a chuck. You know, sometimes it's actually good to also demonstrate the wrong way to do things and how to recover from them. This may not be one of those examples because I may not recover from this, but this is kind of how the process goes. Sometimes it's your planning that fails, and sometimes the material will present you with challenges you weren't expecting. That's not big enough. I have something that'll fit. Let's see. Okay. One other problem that I have right now is that I also didn't leave a shoulder up here at the top. This is basically just a straight, so I don't really have anything to reference against, so I'll just have to be careful and try to get that in there. See if I can get this thing off there. Not that. Okay. So I'm going to try to carefully get this in here. Alright, let's see where we're at so far. Not good. Put a little bit more pressure on there. So right now, trying to line this thing up in here so that I can turn this lid. I might just have to start over. That would not be great. Alright, that looks good. Alright, that looks good. Okay. Alright, feeling good about that. Let's see. Looking at the comments here. Harold Golden asked, when sanding the colored pencils, do I do anything special? Yes, I use thin CA as a seal coat to seal up the wood, mostly, so that when I sand it, it doesn't discolor the pencil material doesn't discolor the wood around it, and that helps a lot. Okay. So due to my boneheaded order of operations today, I'm going to be taking some very, very delicate cuts. But I think I'm going to be able to save it. We'll see. Alright. It's looking pretty good there. So let's take away a little bit more of this. I think once I get down past all this rough wood, I think it's going to be a lot easier. Making the cuts is going to be much, much, much easier. Alright. Make a little fillet here. Oops. Fillet, whatever. However. just to say that. And cut that. Get rid of some of this rough stuff. I know they say you're crazy if you talk to yourself and answer yourself, but I do that, especially when I'm working on stuff like this. So maybe I am a little crazy. So I'm using right there I'm cutting with the edge, with the top wing of the tool, in much the same way that you would use a skew. Gives a pretty nice cut, pretty smooth, not too aggressive. And my finger behind using my finger back here behind the workpiece really helps. Even when you cut this in the right order, but it's basically a requirement at this point with this project, with this particular finial, because there's no way I'd be able to cut it without it, because it'd be flopping all over the place. So now I'm going to make this long skinny bit. Okay. So I'm going to keep, there we go. Probably going to need a little sandpaper to save my behind on this one. And take a break here and look at the comments. See if I missed anything. Larry was asking, now that I have the bottom established, remove it from the hollow form and work it from the top down. That's true. The one place where I'm going to have some difficulty is the fact that I removed the majority of the mass from the bottom. So this point right here is actually super thin, and that is a point of concern. It just means I'm going to have to make much lighter cuts than usual, because I just don't have the support at the base, and it is just ever so slightly off center. So what I'm going to have to do to marry these two together is the portion below this bulbous bit, which is actually the onion. I'm just not going to be able to do very much to it, and I'm going to have to try my best to end all my cutting right there in that union to keep it from looking odd, because the two parts won't be completely concentric. So let's see. And to be honest, at least in my experience, walnut isn't really the best, the easiest material to make a finial out of, because while it is a hardwood, it is slightly porous, and that can make it challenging to make a finial out of it. I'm gonna try something different on this one. See how this goes. You know, there's a lot of rules about doing finials, and there definitely are some valid arguments about, you know, a beautiful shape of a finial following certain rules and things like that. But when you're turning at your lathe, really, you know, it's good to turn. It's good at least sometimes um, to turn a finial that just looks good to you, and basically to hell with the rules. I don't know that I love this shape yet, but you know, I'm gonna keep working on it, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. It's a little too big. Alright, let's see. No, I can't tape it down, Bobby. Let's see. How about cutting a mortise in a scrap piece for friction fit and hot glue that sucker in? Harold, that's a great idea. Didn't think of that, and I didn't read it before I got started. RV Apun asked, when I start a project, what diameter wood do you like to start with? It just depends on what I want to end up with. I started with a very big piece for the lid, primarily because I wanted the lid and finial to be one piece, and so I needed something big enough that I could fit, that I could make it one piece and fit into the hollow form. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna lie and say I love it, but it'll work. So now I'm gonna go ahead and sand this, and normally I just keep cutting on it, but I don't have it mounted in there very well, so we're just gonna go ahead and sand this thing to death. You know, and on that note, you know, whether you get, you know, whether you get a glassy finish off the tool or you have to sand that thing within inches of its life, it doesn't really matter, because when you take it to show and tell at your club, or you know, you go to a crafts fair, or you enter it into an art show or whatever, nobody's gonna know. You do a good job, sanding, you do a good job cutting, it doesn't matter. You end up with the same end product, and nobody knows but you and whoever was in your shop and God. So if sandpaper's the way, have at it. I really can't say I love this shape, but maybe it'll grow on me. Alright. So when you're sanding your finials, right, if you want to keep nice sharp edges, don't sand them with sandpaper. So that's why right there, that little line, I want to keep that. So I'm not going across it, I'm going underneath it like that at an angle to make sure that I don't round that off. And when I come down this way, I have the paper rolled around my finger so I can stop right there at that point. Try to get that under there. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm feeling a little brave, so I think I might just go ahead and try to texture this a little bit. I do like a little bit of texture on a finial. So, yeah, feeling brave. Alright, let's see. So, 45 degrees, 45 degrees. 1000 RPM. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can switch the view around. There you go. So you got a little texture there. See if I can replicate it in the other direction. Maybe. Let's give that a try. Let's see. All right, there we go. Got pretty much exactly what I wanted. Awesome. And then I'm going to go back with my detail gouge, and I'm going to make just a little line right here to delineate between those places. Now, once this thing starts turning, it's hard to determine where the end of that is. So, and you got to be, you got to be on point with this, because you don't want this thing moving around when you reach over to turn your lathe on. So I'm pretty much in position where I want to cut, turn the lathe on, and then I come in here. Oops. Ooh, that wasn't it. That wasn't what I wanted to do at all. Just come in like so. Let's see what other damage I did to this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make another cut. Probably wouldn't have happened if I'd moved the tool rest closer, but so I'm gonna have to get in there and clean that up a little bit. Alright, clean that right up. Okay, so now we have our finial here. When you're, let's see, grab me a little bit of dust off the floor, a little bit of shavings off the floor here, and I'm gonna go ahead and burnish the textured area, knock off those little burrs and things that get generated, just to tighten it up a little bit. And there we go. So now I can take that off, put this thing together here. So I'll pull this paper towel off. Actually, it's funny, I did have just a little bit of a rim right there, which I'm actually gonna sand. I'm probably gonna sand that off. But anyway. So let's see, switch to this camera here, and there's that part. There's that part of it. And the only thing I have left to do really is to go back and take care of the base. And it's like, I don't know, I'm a little over time. So I'll go ahead, maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and finish the bottom of this and probably go ahead and part that off, and then we'll be good to go. Let's get some of these tools out of the way. Take this one off. There you go. Okay, so now let's get back over here, turn this off. Okay, so now what I need to do is now I can go ahead and finalize the bottom of this, and actually I'm gonna sand this so I can show you guys how I do that. Or let's see, let me go ahead and ask now, you guys want me to continue going with this, or you want to wait until next week? And then that way I can go through the process of sealing this up and sanding it, getting the bottom done, turning it around, jam chucking it, and finishing off the bottom and everything, and do that, because that would take quite a while still today. So what do you guys think? I'm looking at the comments, waiting for an answer. Okay. All right then. So I guess we'll just wait till next week. So here's where we are for now. Okay. So here's where we are for now. Till next week. Next week we will finish this next week. I know I kind of teased that we would try to get it done today, but that didn't go down. So I'll try to get... I hope the stream is okay. My computer is going absolutely crazy right now. My computer, but anyway, here's where we are for now. I know I teased that we'd be done this week, but I'm going to move it to next week so that I can go through the remainder of the process and give it the time that it deserves. So, to everybody that joined me today for this installment of the Colored Pencil Vase or Vessel, thanks for joining me in the shop. Thank you guys for interacting in the chat and asking questions and things like that. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. So until then, dread not and make some. Peace.